everyone. I have Dave Johnson back. Say hi. I absolutely love our monthly meetings, and it's so good to see you. And I see that you are in your garden.
I am. Yes. I
It's,
can. I can only sometimes use it because Australians are constantly building.
ah,
So most of the time there's construction. As a matter of fact, there is construction over there still, but we're just going to hope not too much noise shows up today.
well, I thoroughly enjoy the flowers behind you. So what is the temperature right now for summer?
Let me tell you, there's one thing about Australia: temperatures change very quickly, and so in one day you can have heat on and the aircon on. It's that much. It's like it really changes. Now it's like a little bit, a tiny bit balmy, which is a little bit unusual. It's usually pretty dry here, and I don't know, temperature wise. Like if it goes behind the clouds, it'll be 70. If it comes away from the clouds, it'll be more like 80. So
Okay.
you might see me get warmed up here.
Well, 80's good. 80's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
That's a
okay.
Colorado temperature. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
wait till it gets 125.
Yeah, no.
That's no.
I know I visited Arizona one time in August, and when we were there, we were reaching temperatures of 117. I'm a Coloradoan. Anything above 90, we're like, what's going on? Is the earth
Okay.
burning?
Yeah, yeah,
It was
absolutely.
unbelievable. You walked outside and you breathed in the heat and you could feel it in your lungs.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that was enough for me.
In Australia in the summer, people will unconsciously stand in the shade. So if like people are waiting for a bus, I won't think about it, but I'll stand at the portion of the sidewalk where there's a tree, and you
Makes
won't even think about it. You'll see everybody lined up under a tree.
makes sense.
It
You know,
is, yeah.
where was it in there was another country where they queue it up and they put their shoes in line and everybody goes sits in underneath the shaded tree. I can't think of, was it Guam or something like that, where they
Hmm.
call it queuing up, and I know that's a
Oh,
but they put their shoes in line
oh,
the shoes keep them in line, but they go sit in the shade. I thought that was pretty cool. That made
that
me.
is pretty awesome.
All
Hmm.
right, so catch us up. What's been going on your channel?
Oh, so much stuff. Um, I am, doing a lot of, like, I'm not allowed to do quantum healing online yet, but I'm doing that at home, right? You're not allowed to do quantum healing, which is this healing practice over the net. But I am doing my practices for the beyond quantum healing. And so let me tell you, just again, it's like the clients are the ones who are channeling, and it creates the most interesting, very profound, very deep work. So things that I really have no idea about, they'll tell me, "Hey, Dave, what about the ley lines?" I don't know anything about ley lines, but my client will tell me there's ley lines under the ground in Australia, and you got to go there and help fix them, help repair them. So just really, really, really so much information. Like it's it would be overwhelming, except it's totally directed. It's like
Ah,
I
yeah.
get the chunk that I need today, and then tomorrow I get another chunk. So it's really filling up my times. But I have to say, just studying this stuff has been absolutely enjoyable and just fascinating. There's that moment when you're working with someone and you're you, but at the same time, it's like you are channeling, right? So it's almost like people who do this work say at the end they'll forget what happened, and I'm
Yeah.
starting to have that happen. It's almost like somebody. I mean, I am channeling, so I'm channeling while they're channeling, so we're both sort of channeling together, and it's very exciting because I don't know what my question's going to be. I don't know what I'm going to say, but it just comes to me, and I just, it's just the right things come out of my mouth. This is really, really interesting.
Yes, that is a complete and total faith in spirit. And when you
Hmm.
get to that sweet spot, you want to figure out how to get there more and more throughout your day. And I know exactly what you're talking about. When I do that when I do readings. I have a returning client, and she goes, do you remember? I was like, I'm sorry, that message was for you.
That's right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
I'm like, I
Mhm.
don't retain your messages from spirit. Those are definitely directly for you and for you only.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I disappoint them or not. I feel bad. I'm like, I'm so sorry. You know, I don't want to ever hurt their feelings, but I know exactly what you're talking about. You have no memory of what was been said.
And you're not supposed to,
Yes,
right? You're not
this is
supposed
true.
to have their material because you'd become overwhelmed, and
Yes.
also because it really is their understanding, their work, their material. We're just agents here.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And also, my subscribers have been overwhelmed. I had a video almost every single day this week. It's because next week because I went to New York, I've told all of my coworkers that I'll work for them for the holidays because Thanksgiving is next week, and so I am putting in almost 60 hours of work next week. So I won't be doing anything next week.
Okay. Wow.
I know. So anyway, so that's the reason why everybody's getting all of the videos and everything done. So we'll put this up tomorrow. So today is the 17th. I'm
Mhm.
lost. Is it my 17th, your 18th, right?
All right. Yeah.
It just follows. I am talking to you in the future.
Yeah. You could say I am the future, right?
You are the future. All right, so let's go ahead and get to some questions that they have for us. And thank you for indulging us in our that conversation that we have prior to. I find that nice and grounding for myself, and I'm sure for Dave as well. All right, so here we go. So we have, I think the name here is DeJoy. I'm bad on names, but the question is, will the temp 1.5% be kept alive by all world leaders? Do you know that she's talking about?
And it's what, 1.5%?
Will the temp of 1.5%, whether I don't know if that's will the temp of 1.5% be kept alive by all world leaders? Will any islands or countries be severely affected? Are there any consequences for countries that break the agreement?
Okay. And unfortunately, I have not checked out that particular information on the news, but that's okay. You know, we'll just take a look and see what Spirit says. Spirit is not very convinced that it will stay at 1.5%. I'm getting an absolutely no way will we get there. So let's see. Yeah, you know, any place with a ocean is in trouble. You know, that's just what I see. I see that you know, coastal places will be in a difficult position moving forward, especially in rather, you know, remote places where they don't have money to build a seawall. I see this as being a very broken promise. And I think that my feeling really is too that they're underestimating the rate at which we're going to have increased heat. Let's see, can you tell us what else? This is what's important, and I say this because I don't want to depress everybody. Like there's this hopeless situation. All of these things are sort of markers where you and I need to respond. The people themselves need to respond. The leaders aren't going to do anything until we, the people, just demand that they do. And as things get worse, more and more people will be on the side of the planet. People have no choice. So, in some ways, it's hard to see any optimism here. But the positive is that we're all going to be activated. And I think very much, I see a lot of people working together in a way to, it's like we've got a single focus. You know, we are getting together at these events and we have a single focus. Maybe we would disagree about other things, but we all agree that we have to be able to live on the planet. And that's what I see is as a silver lining, is people are becoming more serious. They are getting together. They are speaking truth to power.
It's almost like that the agreement seems to be more important than the 1.5 at this point.
At least there's an agreement. At least there is something you can criticize the politician for. You can go say, look, you said 1.5 and now you've not done it again. At least people are going to be paying a lot of attention and sort of looking underneath the stones, if you will, to say, wait, what about the statistics? What about this temperature? What about that promise?
Okay, cool. Let's see, what's the next one we have is Danielle, gosh. The spirit, she says, hi Dave, hi Sheila, love your channel together and separately, so it's nice to say. I have a question about Iran and its nuclear program. Will it be stalled by the US and allies? Iran is a theocracy and backs several terrorist groups.
Yeah, let's take a look at Iran. You know, one thing that is important to know about Iran is we were once friendly with Iran. We were friendly until the 1950s, and we, America, assassinated their democratically elected president. So before we judge any other countries, we should judge our own. That is the beginning of those problems. This doesn't justify the things, the religious fanaticism and the terrible things that have been done in Iran's name, right? But let's remember that the Iranian people are generally, they didn't vote for these mullahs, right? We didn't vote for these mullahs either. So let's just be fair here. I think that's very important. I also think it's important just to bring that up because we could be friends with Iran again. There's really the only reason that the tensions continue is because both sides are belligerent. We could change that situation. Okay. So will we stop there? Nuclear program. This is interesting. When I get a yes, it looks like this. When I get a no, it looks like this. This yes kind of goes curved. And I don't know why that it's curved like that.
Ooh, maybe.
Yeah, to me, that almost means yes, but it's more nuanced than that, right? It's not a simple, straightforward yes. It's like, yes over time. Maybe it's yes over, a lot of negotiations. But I feel like we will succeed. It's not going to be easy. It may take 10 years, or maybe they will just keep the nuclear program and not move forward very quickly. But yeah, so I'm just going to ask once more. So will they stop? Will they stop their nuclear work over? Yeah, they'll stop it. It will be, again, they won't do it for free. Okay, they won't do it for nothing. Keep in mind again that we have put them in a position somewhat of being paranoid. Again, that does not justify anyone's actions, ours or theirs, but it does reveal that there could be a solution. I don't think most Iranian people want anything to do with terrorism, unfortunately.
How about their nuclear program?
The nuclear program. Nuclear program. Yeah, I kind of get this. It's like interesting. It's almost like a tree trunk shape. That this yes. I get that, and it feels positive in that tree trunk shape, like something could grow. And when I say that, that doesn't mean a growing nuclear program. I mean, it's just the tree feels organic and positive. Can you guys tell me more? Yeah, it's going to be tough. It'll be tough negotiations. This is a good question because I don't think it's easily solved. And the next, I'm getting 10 to 20 years. that it'll be constant work on trying to regain trust between the two parties.
Okay. All right. So this one is from Holly. Does Saint Germain have anything to say? Do you know who Saint Germain is? Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Germain.
Yeah, it's Saint Germain.
Saint Germain. I have always been fascinated by his love of life and talents. Thank you very much.
All right. So can we see Saint Germain? Again, I don't know really much about Saint Germain in particular, but what was the question? Can you tell me again?
Does Saint Germain have anything to say to us? What does Saint Germain, if you can tap in, what message would he have for us?
You know, it's in a way, he seems kind of happy-go-lucky. You know, I just like, one thing that I would like us to do is not be so serious. That's what he's sort of telling me. Let's see if he'll just go ahead and speak through me. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we want you to have more fun. It's important to be serious, especially about the subjects that you brought up today. But at the same time, there has to be fun. Your life cannot constantly revolve around worry about the political situation. There's some degree of laughter, some degree of having fun, and just silly fun, like just, you know, watch tap dancing movies. You know, just we want you to reconnect with the positives, because if you're constantly involved in the negatives, if you're constantly serious about this, it's going to drain your energy. And when good positive things come up, you will dismiss them because you'll be so focused on the, you know, battle at hand. Understand that we can still move forward and do the right thing and fight the battle. All of us already know, you know, what the problems are. You know, we know what's going on. We know what we need to do, and definitely move forward with what you can do. But you absolutely must take a portion of your day and enjoy it. It has to be at least an hour of fun, and that could be whatever you want to do, like read a book, talk to your friends, puzzles, whatever's fun for you. If you don't do this, you're going to lose your energy and you won't be able to fight the good fight. There has to be a reason to fight, and that reason to combat climate change, for example. The reason that you would do that is your love and enjoyment of humanity, nature, and this planet. So keep going. You're all doing a really great job, but don't give up that hour of fun a day. First of all, you deserve it. Second of all, you were not put on this planet just to act politically and suffer. You were put on this planet to feel the joy of spirit, and spirit feels the joy through you as you enjoy that portion of your day.
Fantastic. This is also Native American month here in the United States. So I know that you do shaman work. So I was just wondering, this is my question. Is there any way of you possibly channeling any of that kind of energy, like Native American or shaman, and have a nice, beautiful message for the United States?
Okay. Yeah, and in the past couple of days, I've been sort of interesting question, because I've kind of been doing some of that connecting. One thing I do in the morning now is, instead of reading the Washington Post, I get up and I turn on like Native American music, and for like, you know, while I'm drinking my coffee, I just try to meditate there before my meditation, just because, you know, it really focuses me. So I've literally been listening to Native American music every morning for a couple of weeks, and let's see if they're willing to deliver a message. And everybody, you should know that I do not have one drop of Native American blood in me. So understand that I have to really appeal on the level of someone for whom it is not their blood. So when they show up, they're doing me a great service, a great favor. I must be very honored. Wow, I'm getting this taste of tobacco in my mouth.
A sacred herb to them.
Yeah. Oh, and I feel like it. I feel like I'm sitting there smoking from the peace pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Oh man. Ooh, ooh. This fellow is like a wise old Native American. He's like the most ancient. It's almost like the grandfather of all grandfathers feeling. And he's joined by the grandmother of all grandmothers. So one thing that they're showing me, and this is just how they're showing me, is balance. And now they're not channeling through me yet. I'm observing them in this teepee. They're giggling. Again, they're like being like, we don't have to be totally serious, guys. Rest up a little bit. You're learning. I'm just going to ask him if he wants to speak to me. He's like, look, I'll just speak to you rather than have him come into my body. Right. Can you tell me what did you tell us? This is interesting. We're sitting in a teepee, and we've got this peace pipe, and there's a few people seated next to us, but there's many empty seats. So he's telling me that he's ready. He's ready for all of us to join in his endeavor, and that I personally need to stop being so reticent. And it's important to show respect, but he's not as worried now about me. And he's saying, look, we want to welcome you guys. You don't need to be crazy reverent. We want to welcome you guys to this endeavor. And it's interesting. It's like almost like they had to disappear for a while so that they could come back. He's almost saying like, it was a horrible tragedy that we all died. And it was absolutely a tragedy. But on the other side, we are making our way back. And the way to make it back is he's showing me that, share the peace pipe. You guys don't go start smoking tobacco, because that really is a curse on white people. Native American people only smoked it in this ritual way. And that's what he means. He's like, there's a seat for everybody at this table. Now's not a time where we should worry about the color of each other's skin. We're gonna need to work in this way. You can learn so much from the history of our culture, the way that we treated each other, and understand that we also had our own limitations. We weren't a perfect culture either, but if you can interweave the good points of what you know and what they know, we'll be able to do a great deal of work together. It's all about a community. And if you can create these kinds of communities, even the community creation is an important step along the way. He is putting his hands together and he's saying, we pray for you guys, right? So it's not just that we are praying for them. It's like, we pray for you guys.
Fantastic.
She also wants to say, Native American lady says, you're speaking to the man because you're a man, but I'm just as important. There's no, in this one thing, for example, is equality between men and women. That's far closer to a Native American way than a historic way from the West. And he's kind of looking at her, and they're sort of joking around back and forth about who has the most power. And he's kind of asking her to step up a little bit, but he is glad when she does. So there's another portion of their contribution, is the more we can find this equality between men and women, and there are plenty of men out there who are very willing to do that. They might be somewhat hard to find, but there are men who are able to do that if they're not there yet. And we could live in this sort of communities where we work together in love. Again, she passes the peace pipe to all of us. You know, in that way, we're all connected. We all breathe the same air.
Oh, beautiful. You know, the community that I belong to is from the Lakota. I get taught from the Lakota, and they teach us that they're even though their ancestors have died, a lot of their ancestors are coming back as the white woman and the white man. And so that's the reason why we are drawn to them, is because we've been there. They believe in that reincarnation. So it's the reason why we have that respect, that reverence, and we're attracted, is what their belief is. So
let me tell you, my sage is burning like crazy.
It's a going.
It's all a right. Going. It's your sage, by the way. You gave this to me.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Look at that, the connection.
Yeah. I just realized that.
Nice. All right. So what we have next is, let's see, how do we as consumers and concerned citizens stop the insane amount of plastic and paper and waste? I work with a corporation retail, please, and I want to cry seeing this. Or does it matter? Give us a strategy to follow or something. That's a hard one. That one's a hard one.
It's really hard. It's impossible to say how I'm going to solve this problem for the world. If you're an individual, it's almost impossible to do that. What is very possible, though, is how can you transform yourself and understand that spirit has sent you to this earth to have an experience. And if that experience is you getting to be more powerful, more understanding, more in line with nature, then that's something that you can do, you can accomplish, you can finish. And so try to make that just your goal. How could I do the best that I can in relationship to this? How could I create a community, and maybe I'll only be able to change one person's mind a little bit today, right? Just by sharing love and being kind and listening, and maybe helping them understand themselves. If you create it to be like, okay, I'm going to be number one responsible for me and what I can do. So there's a worm farm here. I was convinced by a couple of my friends. I'm like, I don't have enough room for a worm farm. My friends convinced me. Oh, Dave, you do too. And sure enough, I built one, and that worm farm is fertilized, my whole garden, front, back. So, you can do things, you can do something. And I realized, like, even when I'm doing it, there's just sort of a feeling of being in the right place at the right time. It's almost like I'm, like in the moment, I feel like I'm, I want to say like creating, or in the moment, I feel like I wouldn't even say recreating, because it's all my old food scraps that are now food for the worms and my garden. So that's something I can do. I ride a bike everywhere. I rarely drive a car. That might not be available to everybody, but these just simple, small things, as well as going to your community of 2 people or 3 people or 10 people or 20 people, and just being together with them, supporting them, doing the small things that they do. This community grows and grows and grows. As I'm sure you know, Sheila, we can only change the world one person at a time.
I agree.
So I've got my client, I'm talking to them, I'm helping them work through, perhaps extremely traumatic childhood issues. Once they get to the other side of that, they feel stronger, they feel more empowered, they're going to go help somebody else work through their childhood issues. And, they're also going to be available to maybe, go protest for the environment, right? Don't try to take on the whole world. Just you may be doing that in your sleep. You may actually be solving all the world's problems while you go to bed. But during your daytime time, just do those things that you feel like you can reasonably do. And it is important to try to convince people. You have to know who's you're not going to convince. But there's some people who are kind of in the middle. And if you put it in a particular way, you say, well, you know what? I can tell you, living in California, these fires are getting worse. And it isn't because there's sticks on the ground. Okay, there have been sticks on the ground for thousands of years. It's
Right.
not suddenly a problem that there's sticks on the ground in a forest.
I know millions and millions of years of
Right.
litter on
So
the floor, and all of a
some,
sudden now.
yeah, somebody brought this particular thing up to me. Like, well, there's all those sticks on the ground, and that's what's happening. And I said to them, well, you live on a ranch. How many days a week do you spend picking up all the sticks up off your ranch? I'm like, yeah, none. So, it's like I did that to make them think about that. I didn't do it in like, oh my God, you're so stupid kind of way. Because,
Yeah.
nobody's going to be convinced that way. Right.
No.
And again, you're not going to convince some people. Just don't bang your head against that wall.
Right.
Rather help someone that, wants that as opposed to, give your advice to somebody who doesn't want it. And keep in mind, this planet is, millions and millions of years old. It's going to go on for millions of years. How many people or humans it has on it is really the question, right? It might not support life for all of us. It might support life for 90% of us, but it will go on.
Speaking of that, what I do is I always have my own bag. She has that question is about plastic, right? I always use my own grocery bags. And then you know what I give for gifts? I either do it myself, give them a specialized grocery bag, or I buy them from a certain spot and I give gifts. I give grocery bags to other people as gifts to encourage them to use grocery bags when they go to the grocery store.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's one way. It's like that one spot. If you look up how much that grocery bag and how many grocery bags you use in a year, look at how many you're saving. So that's that small little pebble in the pond that ripples out.
Yeah. And you don't have to be obsessed, right? With every little detail. Part of it is just the thought and the direction of what am I doing now, right now? Well, I'm doing something for the world for 5 minutes at this moment.
And being an example is way more powerful than being a boss.
Yes. That's true.
Somebody told me that a long time ago, is when I was a supervisor, like being an example has more power.
Yeah, it does have more power because people may not say it, but they respect it.
Exactly. All right, so let's go ahead and so here's one from I think it's JLo or Glo, JLO. How would you pronounce that? JLO. Jlo? Anyways, anywho. Spent the weekend with my mother, 85 years old, and an automatic writer. Had her watch a few videos of individuals, shook her head numerous times. Her guides got in touch with my guides. One way to communicate is by permission. And all I can say is, wow, I now have a new perspective. What she's saying is that her mother, I guess, is not communicating verbally, but her guides got a hold of her guides, and she felt the power of that very powerful communication. So this is just a statement that says, wow, and thank you, and good luck, and love and light. So she's sweet.
Good luck to you, and good job, Taylor. I mean, really nice work. That's like the kind of story I'd really like to hear, where people are just, they're just doing it. They're just going there and doing the work.
Yeah, it's one thing about just thinking that it's there, but it's another when you experience it and now that it's there.
And it's also really interesting and important to have intention. Yes. She's talking about the intention of speaking to her mom, who apparently has dementia. And that intention is so important. I'm sure her mom knows either now or when she's on the other side about that intention. And that's if you go into something with the intention of love and communicating and sharing, I feel like it always works out. Absolutely.
All right, so we have Marie Hansen. Here we go with the political. So take a deep breath. Will Congress use civil or inherent contempt on Mark Meadows?
Civil or inherent contempt. And let's see if I can figure this one out, because I don't quite know the difference. parents.
Just go into Mark Meadows and see what's going to happen to him. Maybe
Yeah,
we can catch
let's
it
try
from
that.
there.
Yeah. Again, I'm not reading. I used to be just fanatic about every detail, but I'm much more general now when I look at politics. And ooh, I hate Mark Meadows because he's such a creepy feeling. This is like a feeling of a sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I mean, and there's some sociopaths who are at least kind of friendly. Just like the least friendly sociopath. He looks like a predator. Like in his next lifetime, he's going to be a rattlesnake. He's just like, woof. You can see his like really like seriously beady little eyes. One thing that I do get is he's really nervous. He's got something to hide, and he's going to try everything he can to hide it. He will pull any kind of political stunt he can do to get out of it. So, and let me take a look at Congress. What are you going to do? What are you guys going to do? And no one, this is a very positive thing. So I'm seeing the red portion of Congress, right? It's receding a little bit. So you know how the infrastructure plan, I don't know, 10 Republicans, 8 Republicans voted, 15 Republicans, I think, voted for Biden's infrastructure plan. So that whole 100% Republican, they always stick together base is starting to recede. And that is really important. Okay, that is more important maybe than any other political factor. Is enough people are breaking up the Republican Party so that they no longer have this total monopoly and total control over what happens. And they are looking, they do not want to be associated with this attack on the Congress. Not only did they, have their own feelings when they were attacked, they knew what was going on and why. For political reasons, they can't be overt about that, but they are not happy with him, and they are one female congresswoman. Maybe it is Liz Cheney. I think other Congress people are speaking to Liz Cheney, and they cannot come out overtly and say this, but that's the thing. They are not working against Liz Cheney. They are working against Meadows. So understand there is maybe 10%, 5% of the Republicans, maybe more, that would be glad to get rid of him and to totally disassociate from him. They want him to be like, okay, just a congressman with no power. Because they're trying to
Meadows he was connected to Trump and the insurrection. Right. He was one of his guys.
Right. Yeah. No, okay. We're starting to think that he may have helped set it all up. And that's what they're thinking too. So part of this is just self-preservation. Like he could do it again. They're getting death threats. They're not very happy about these death threats. They're worried about their own families too. So it's thanks to people like Meadows that they're getting these death threats. So they're on edge, and they're having difficulty playing this because they don't want to come out fully against Meadows, but they certainly don't want to come out for him. Well, what are you guys going to do? I think they're going to be as harsh with Meadows as they think. I mean, I'm literally seeing Meadows come out to a scaffold and have his head cut off. So I think
Bannon, they're going to treat him like Bannon.
I think worse. I think the difference is Bannon is a free agent. He can do what he wants, but he was a member of their body. And it's just like, imagine if you were at work and you found out, your building was attacked and you found out that one of the people that you were working with in that building helped them. Maybe for political reasons, you couldn't get rid of them over. Right. They're ready. And this is really more important than Meadows. They are ready to be done with this far right extremism. They've realized that it is not helping their party and they want to be rid of it. So they want to go back to generic right-wing stuff. They don't want this radical stuff.
I wish they'd go back there too, and so that we could trust them again and be just Republicans.
Yes. Yeah.
Just be a Republican.
Would not be nice. Yeah, but let's remember that the seeds of this existed a long time ago. Think of the war in Iraq. They knew that there were no weapons of mass destruction.
Oh yeah, I
They pretend-
remember that day.
they pretended that they didn't, but they.
Well, speaking of that, any political future for Hillary Clinton?
Oh wow. She's done. He's no longer interested.
I've got the same thing. I was wondering if you were going to get this. I've got the same thing. She
Like
put in her effort, and she's like,
Meh.
I'll help, but I'm not going for anything.
Uh-huh. So now, Sheila, I've only got a few, like 10 points left here on my lappy. Should
Okay.
I move indoors or make it just a couple questions? I could move.
No, this is okay. We're at an hour and 10, so we've definitely have gone for a while. Let me see if I can catch a really good. So Ghislaine Maxwell is also on trial. Can you look at her real quick?
Ooh, I hate looking at these people. Ew. I will do it,
I
but I don't
know
like
that
her.
was a question. Ghislaine Maxwell's on trial.
Yeah, just don't stick to me, okay, lady. Yeah, I'm totally making my pyramid here as I
So
go.
we're gonna do some Fast and Furious ones. So Ghislaine Maxwell, what's her
Okay.
trial?
I see blood. It's like blood goes across the screen of the camera, like splatter. Ew. Wow, we're gonna find out some really heavy stuff when she talks. And this is the thing. It's like you see red. It's like she's mad, and she's mad that they abandoned her, and she's like, okay, I'm still in the beans. Interesting. Biden looks surprised. Even he is like dumbstruck, like, so it might be, I don't think Biden has anything to do with the abuse, but it looks like the level of abuse surprises him, which indicates that there's people on both sides of the aisle who have done terrible things.
Is she gonna get prison?
Oh yeah, she'll be in prison.
What do you think? What do you see? Just a
I'm gonna have to. I got 4%
4% now.
Yeah, my lap's really old too, so I'm surprised it hasn't conked out. It usually conks out at 20. It's like becoming a little bit of a problem.
Conks out.
Yeah.
I like that word.
Okay. So you guys are getting the full tour, full home tour here. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Plugged in here. Let's see, Maxwell. Yeah, again, I get she's really mad. She is.
Cuckoo for Cuckoo Puffs.
Yeah, and she really wants this sort of. It's strange. It's like she expected loyalty or something. Basically, I'm not going to be the fall guy for this. You're going to let me sink. I'm all you taking all of you down. I'm starting to see various figures. Their faces aren't really clear. Who of powerful men around the situation who would, number one, like her dead, and number two are she's going to talk about. These are famous people, very famous people, who she's going to talk about.
Do you see her? Do you see how much time she gets
in prison? Well, I see her literally getting blown away. Like something hits her in the stomach and she disappears. I don't know whether this is like life in prison or something happens to her before she even gets to prison. I'm a little bit concerned because, we know what happened to other people who are going to talk in prison. Is that going to happen? Is she gonna I do feel like she's going to testify and she's going to name people.
Okay.
Is she gonna go to prison or not? One more time I see, is she gonna go to prison or not? You know, it might be that she gives enough information about enough people that she doesn't go to prison. It might be, and I've been wondering this for months, like, what, why have we not heard anything? I mean, come on, Merrick Garland, you know, you don't need 8 months to arrest these people who are potentially, you know, molesting more girls. Like, what are we waiting for here, guys? You know, but I think they're talking to her and she's giving evidence about people right now. She's really talking to them, and I see her walking out of the, like, closing the prison gate behind her, like, nope, I'm free. I'm going to live in a foreign country and I will change my identity. And that's not, no.
I hope so.
I mean,
hope so.
I'm more interested in her nailing about all of those people, and there are hundreds, than her going to jail. I mean, I think she's a horrible person and all that, but I don't think she's, well, maybe she's equally horrible, but she's at least telling the truth now and stopping.
When I did a remote, this reason why I was asking, because when I did a remote, I got between 17 or 18 years. And I was just wondering if maybe that's 17 to 18 people she's going to drop. I don't know.
Well, you know, also it might be, I see her like she's in prison, but she's closing the door. So maybe she does go to prison, but it's a more limited time because of what she's, I don't think she'll get, I mean, it seems odd that she would get off totally, but I do get so I think you could be right. Maybe she does go to prison, but it's a reduced time. I mean, she should be in prison for life, obviously, for what she's done. There's so many crimes, but she's getting out early. You know, 18 years might be getting out early. You may not be wrong. I think the more important thing, though, is, or at least as important, is the fact that she appears to be cooperating, and that this time superpowers they're not going to be able to kill her too, because that would just be too suspicious, maybe, or that would lead to, you know, people are watching more carefully to make sure she isn't killed. I get her testifying, and it seems the most important thing. A judge keeps hitting the gavel. It's like wham, wham, wham.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to Beto O'Rourke. They want to see his fate and see if he's going to, how he's going to do in his race.
He's doing this really cool sort of kind of dance going on here. He's really looking very dynamic. He looks great. I'll tell you, I never saw him look so good in all my life. He looks great and confident, and he looks like he's rising. You know, there were some self-inflicted wounds the last time around, like some kind of mistakes that he made. I don't know what they were because I didn't notice them, but it's almost like he's cut and he's smoothing out his wounds. So one thing also I think that will be worthwhile is taking a look at him and just watching how he evolves, right? Like, how does he, you know, how does he do? You know, again, he's got his own personal journey, and that personal journey might inform us. And there's lots of others watching that personal journey. And let's hope there's a bunch of men going, I could be a nice guy too. You know, I don't have to be this oppressor of everybody. I could be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant male and still listen to everybody and treat people really well and be a nice guy. I mean, this is a great example, not just for, you know, everyone, but for, you know, young boys sitting there going, you know, people seem to like this guy. Women seem to be really comfortable with him. Maybe I could be more like that.
Right, so right.
He's a really good example. And I see him just, I mean, almost think of him as like a force. Like, here's a decent guy, force of energy, right? A guy who's white and male, but doesn't offend, you know, like every single minority on a daily basis, either because of ignorance or intention. He seems really doing well. And I also even get that he knows this. It's not about him winning. It's about him showing an example of a person whose soul is evolving in these ways. It's very, very beautiful to see, actually. I'm proud of him. And I'm not sure I would have said that before. I wasn't, you know, I like him and everything, but I wasn't this excited about him before.
I'm glad. I hope that his light shines so bright that Mr. Abbott can't see anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see if we can get some more here. I don't understand. Somebody thinks that Kamala Harris is having a strained relationship with the president. That is not correct. I can tell you that.
Yeah, she would find that odd. Actually, I think she would laugh if you said that.
Yeah, that's not.
I'm Kamala Harris. Come on.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, she's not. She's definitely not. It says how can you tell the difference between spirit and ego when you hear it in your thoughts?
Oh, wow. That is such a good question, you guys. I'm constantly working on this. And I think if you do this work, Sheila will tell you, we are all constantly working on this. And constantly going, is that my ego or is that it? It is a constant battle. I'm going to tell you guys the best thing to do to prevent that is to meditate. Because what will happen while you're meditating is you'll be like, God damn it, that made me so mad. I hate it when people do that. And then, why do you hate that? Oh, well, I hate it because when I was in third grade, my teacher also used to do that. Wow, I do a lot of things based on what my third grade teacher said. It totally doesn't apply in this situation. Okay, and then you're like, move past those thoughts. Stop thinking, stop thinking. But it'll kind of get you to notice what you think about a lot.
Yes.
And when that happens, I know, for example, let's suppose I have a certain bias, like, there's a great example. I have a bias against people like Trump. I just don't like them. So when I am reading, I do have to go, okay, Dave, let's look at this. Imagine Trump as a baby, as a 3-year-old child. He wasn't a bad person. What's that experience of him like? Oh, well, here's his dad who appears like 20 feet tall, yelling at him as he's just a little kid trying to play. It's like, here's this guy, it's horrible. But if you look at the humanity of that person when they evolved, there's a reason why that happened to them. So I would even ask, like, if you can consciously welcome your ego and just say, oh, hello, ego, and thank them for all the wonderful things that they do, right? They take care of you. They say no for you. They tell you, hey, somebody's going beyond your limits. They convince you to brush your teeth in the morning. Ego's a helpful character, Yeah. So when you're doing this, you can even like meet them and say, hey, thanks for your help. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to ask you to observe here. Can you have a seat? Oh, here's a beautiful chair for you to sit on. Oh, would you rather sit on a more comfortable chair? Okay, go ahead. Could you just observe for 5 minutes? We'll definitely come back to you. And like really like almost have this mental conversation where you show respect because your ego is important. And also in this work, your ego should be there to warn you. There are some dark spirits. But when you have that agreement that they will watch, I also think it really does help if you call to spirit in a way like, I bring spirit down like this. That's the sort of man in the moon spirit, which I now know is many spirits. If you can ask, if you can meet a guide, if you can meet that guide, it will help. The pyramid for me always helps. That helps for protection, but it also helps to keep your ego aside. And you're going to make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up because we all, believe me, I make so many mistakes every single day and say stupid things and do stupid things. And, I get macho too when I'm riding my bike and a car cuts me off and I'm like, wow. It's like not like any of us were going to be perfect at all ever. So forget that notion.
So how do you hear spirit? Where does spirit come in? Because ego is.
So good question. So let me just like, for me, I need to get before every session, before today, spend 10 minutes or more, minimum 10 minutes meditating and try not to think about politics and stuff. Try to just get to not thinking. And now in that work, I am able to get to a point where I do feel like I'm talking to spirit, where I'm not chattering. This took a long time. And then from there, I burn some sage, and I, kind of try to clear off. I put the sage under each foot. And so that actually really helps too. So that's when I feel like, and I wonder if there's a better way to describe it.
I know when I feel spirit, it just comes in differently.
Yeah.
My ego kind of swafts through my head, and I know that it's selfish and self-centered, so I can recognize that those actions, those words, and those things that come through. And I was kind of describing this, and spirit kind of comes through my body. Like through my emotion. That's the reason why they feel heart and love, and it kind of comes through here before it comes into my existence.
It certainly helps if you are in a state of love. If you're in the state of anger, like, oh God, the government, it's going to be pretty hard. If you can just, again, that's important information, but just put it aside for a moment. I mean, honestly, among other things, it's just a feeling in my heart. And keep in mind, like, I'm really bad at the heart. It took me many, many years to even understand my own feelings. I am an American man. So it took a long time, but now I will constantly tell people, we went to school, we learned math, but there wasn't a school teacher who taught us the meaning of the heart. When you meet somebody and you're just like, ooh, you give them the creeps. It's not even about the way they look. You're just like, I don't like them. There's something weird about them. I don't know. It could be your ego. But usually it's your heart. And
usually has everything to do with you. Yeah.
Usually the heart, and it's accurate. And if you check in your heart for things, I think that really makes a difference.
Check your gut, what they usually call it. Check with your gut. And that gut, I remember a while back learning that your intestines and your gut really do have memory, just like your brain. It's just as important. And so it talks to you, but that's a whole other video. But anyway, it just kind of comes in it comes in as a whisper instead of a roaring lion.
Right. That's another way
to put it.
Yeah. And I think everybody out there will experience this in a different metaphor. Right. So I would ask each of you to just, check it out, try it, try your predictions. Are they accurate? Try ask spirit. In my opinion, again, you just say, spirit, how can I know when it's ego? And you just keep your ears open during the day. And somebody will walk up to you, tell you, oh, that guy, he's got the biggest ego. You know how I know? And like literally people will just come up and tell you the answer. She'll turn on the TV and they'll be
this is true. I've had that happen too. I'm like, oh, there's
always happens. Answer. Any question you want, if you ask with sincerity, I would say it out loud in a private place or in a forest or something. You'll get an answer. You just have to listen carefully.
Exactly. All right. So here's the final one. It says, Dear David, please look ahead and see what finally succeeds in forcing the faults I name hell off the air. The faults and she's talking about the narrative, the lying, the propaganda, all of that. What's going to force that
to stop? Away? Yeah, it's so funny. You said the first words. I saw two crossed swords before you even began the question. Those are two swords crossed, but I also saw them part. Okay. I also get we are going through a revolution. There's not necessarily blood in every street, but we are. We're literally experiencing nothing different than the French Revolution, except we're not actively beheading people. We are just living with these two fighting forces. So understand that we're not the first people to go through this. It is a revolution. There has to be big changes. And I'm seeing Tucker Carlson. He turns red. Something will happen that will finally embarrass the right wing, because he looks as red as a person could look, like embarrassed. So it's hard to imagine like what would embarrass, a Fox News host. But as I'm looking at these guys, something happens. I think there is some really terrible consequence that takes place. Which causes him to be ashamed and actually people to become angry at right-wing media. So what will happen? Eventually, they will draw a line in the sand. And that is like Nancy Pelosi is here with her sword and she's drawing a line. Remember, the Federal Communications Commission, they can control this. They could change and say, hey, look, this is sedition. You cannot encourage an attack against the United States of America, even in a place of free speech. They can set rules. And that's what I see Pelosi eventually doing. I do feel like it will follow some kind of social crisis. And that is, I kind of feel like there could be something like another attack. I don't know where, and I don't know how or when, but something like, and I may even not be able to go through with it, but it's something so shocking that even, a stranger on the street will walk up to, Tucker Carlson and call him a traitor. And actually he will take it in and feel embarrassed. If you guys get the chance, there's a Netflix series right now about all those women who worked at Fox.
Okay. At the what? Worked at the what?
All these women who worked at Fox, like
at Fox, okay.
Fox News. You will be so disgusted at the behavior of these people. And I'm starring, is it Megan? Who's the woman that's that they eventually got rid of because she asked Trump, why he called women fat pigs.
Megan, are you talking about Meghan McCain? No.
No, the newscaster. She had short blonde hair, and she when she was interviewing for the presidency, she asked Trump, when she was asking questions, she asked Trump why he called women fat pigs and stuff. And since then, her life was pretty much ruined. I recommend this, except that it makes me so angry that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to watch the rest of it.
Right.
It's like everything you thought about that network. And, people do come up to them and people do say, you're a murderer. And they're like in the grocery store, and people, imagine what it's like if you're working Fox News. No one will hire you because you're working for these, institutions.
Yeah, that's not something you put on your resume and then expect a high-powered job unless you're applying for Fox.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, you know what? I got the meaning of 2022. So that'll be 222, right? Good things to come for 2022, the 222s. This is a good sign. Again, the number 222 can be seen as a reminder that you are on the right path and are doing the right things in life. So this is what this country's 222, the whole world, we're in 2022, the whole world, we're on the right path. And that's also, numerology and spirit speaking to us. This is a good sign of positivity, good luck, and joy. So 2022, I think the beginning of 2022 is going to be jaw dropping. I'm like, whoa, because all the lawsuits, all the January 6th commission's report, all these things are going to January, February, March, but then we're on the right path again, right? Mm-hmm. We seem to be going in the right direction. So just always remember that we have spirits always involved. No matter what Bannon throws at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No matter what Trump says, spirit is always, they cannot remove that. They don't have the power to remove God, spirit, whatever in the whole of things. So I just want to always root that there.
If we are able to see the spirit in that whole interaction, remember, they are not.
Yes.
So we have this huge advantage, and that we can go beyond the physical. We can see how we are being transformed. Steve Bannon cannot. Steve Bannon doesn't believe in anything beyond himself.
No. And that's where we can take that knowledge and give us comfort and realize that things are going to be okay.
Yeah, true. Very true.
The story is already written. We're just watching it.
And we're being transformed.
Yeah.
And we're being transformed ourselves.
We are.
So when you get depressed, remember hey, but it really is about me in this lifetime, and learning and learning and learning. Even if I don't succeed the first time or the 10th time, I am being transformed.
That is absolutely true. And we are all transforming together.
Yeah.
You're not alone. So,
yeah.
Well, thank you, Dave. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So don't leave, because we'll make another appointment for next month, or do you want to wait until after Christmas? Because everybody's taking like December off. So you have that option. We can take that off and then start in January.
Yeah, I could do that. That's not a bad idea.
That's a good idea. Well, we'll just make it and jump to January, give everybody that December holiday, because that's stressful and all by itself.
Yes.
Even if you do nothing, it's still stressful. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.